Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
We're in downtown Phoenix. The D-backs hosting the Colorado Rockies on Classic TV night at the ballpark. Fans getting their A-Team T-shirts. Petey the Fool, who takes the Rockies lightly. A couple of guys with Colorado have a chance at a batting title, while another might be the player of the month in the league. First of three here, D-backs and Rockies. Josh Colmenter, Yabba Dabba Doo, facing Christian Bergman. It's D-backs baseball here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. D-backs and Rockies first of three here on this Labor Day weekend. And Bob, this is a Rockies team that's hit 21 home runs this season against the Diamondbacks. This is still a dangerous team even though they're in last place.
Yeah, no question about it. They're missing some key pieces offensively, but they continue to lead the majors in batting average and runs scored. A lot of that's the Coors Field effect, but a lot of it is the season these three guys are having. Justin Morneau, Corey Dickerson, as you mentioned, both threatening for the batting title once Dickerson gets enough at bats, and Nolan Arenado just continues to get better by the day.
Yeah, he missed a month with an injury earlier this season, but he's having a tremendous second half.
Yeah, had a 28-game hitting streak earlier this year, which is the highest in the majors this season. The reigning player of the week in the National League has set a career high in homers, and his next RBI will be a career high in runs driven in. This guy, as I said, just continues to get better and better every day.
Well, some of the key hitters that Josh Colmenter will face tonight for the Diamondbacks. 2 starts ago in Miami. A little worried about Josh's fatigue. The velocity was down. Maybe it might be time to shut him down, but he came back in his last start here at home and looked tremendous, and that seems to make all the difference.
Yeah, pitched into the 9th inning in his most recent start. Yeah, the start before, there were some red flags. His velocity was way down. His command was not good, but he really bounced back last time out and has done tremendous here at Chase Field as a starting pitcher.
Colmenter and Bergman, the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, first of three on Classic TV night here at Chase Field. Diamondback players and their Classic TV Photoshop work here. Now, somebody was up late working on these last night. We'll get you all set for Diamondbacks baseball when we come back right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Arizona is brought to you in part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next, and by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow for the purchase of a large drink. Back at Chase Field in downtown Phoenix, D-backs kicking off this Labor Day weekend with classic TV night here at the ballpark. First of 3 against the Colorado Rockies. Baxter, dressed up in his A-team outfit, is dressed up as B.A. Baracus right there. All the classic TV shows from years gone by at the forefront here at the ballpark. So we asked some of the Diamondback players, what was your favorite classic TV show?
What was your favorite TV show growing up?
I think the answer I gave earlier this year was Full House, but I mean, I don't know. I couldn't remember. I liked all the TGIF shows when I was really young, you know? So any one of those would have worked.
The Wonder Years. Yeah, I grew up loving that show, and I still watch it. It's occasionally on like one of the random cable channels that show the old shows.
I love Friends. It's a classic. But growing up, I was a big Disney Channel guy, so I was like, even Stevens, The Jersey, Famous Jet Jackson, all those Disney Channel shows.
But if I had to guess, I'd say Brady Bunch, because it's probably the one that's the most popular and the first one that came to my head, so I'm going to go with Brady Bunch.
Classic TV night here at the ballpark. Don't forget the A-team, of course. I love it when a plan comes together, and some Flintstones in the ballpark with us tonight. As we get set for first pitch from Josh Colmenter, the Tomahawk takes the hill against a pretty good hitting Rockies ball club. Bob Brenly and I back with first pitch after this on Fox Sports Arizona. Six of their last 7 games against the Rockies, 7-5 in the season series so far. 3 games left here at Chase Field, and forward course September 18th through the 21st. That'll be the final road trip of the season. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the D-backs, Josh Colmenter, looking for his 2nd straight win on this homestand. And this season for Josh, it's been home sweet home. Here's Mike Harkey.
You always felt more comfortable pitching at home. I mean, you pitch here 18 times compared to pitching everywhere else, maybe 1 to 2 more times, 2 times a year. So I mean, yeah, it's home cooking. It's it's the fact that you're comfortable.
Well, the win tonight would be Josh's 10th of the year, Bob, tying a career high.
Yeah, you should be comfortable here at home. Another factor, when you're the home starting pitcher, game starts when you're ready. You plan your warm-ups accordingly. If you need a little extra time before going out to the mound, you build that into your pregame routine, and Josh Colmenter should be ready to go here as he takes the mound.
And fears that he was fatigued after that short outing 2 starts ago in Miami, alleviated by his outstanding start last Friday against the Padres here at Chase Field. When he came only 2 outs shy of a complete game, he was tremendous. No walks, 8 strikeouts.
Did not allow an earned run in that ball game.
1-1 to Charlie Blackmon, the Rockies' leadoff man. Blackmon 288 and 15 home runs. He's got some pop in the leadoff spot.
I mentioned in the open that the Rockies lead the majors in runs scored this year, also in team batting average. And one way to keep the Rockies off the board is keep these first 2 hitters off base. Charlie Blackmon, Drew Stubbs. No doubt the 2 speed guys that they have in their lineup, when they get on base in front of the guys in the middle, Rockies tend to have offensive success.
Flare out to left. It drops in front of Alfredo Marte, so Blackmon's aboard to open up the series. This is the way Walt Weiss's Rockies will line up tonight against Josh Colminter.
Yeah, we've seen Blackmon at the top. Drew Stubbs making his way into the batter's box now. Justin Morneau battling for a batting title. Nolan Arenado this season against the D-backs has been a real thorn in the side. Corey Dickerson swinging a hot bat since he's been in the lineup on a regular basis. Michael McHenry doing the catching. Josh Rutledge at short. DJ LeMahieu at second. And Christian Bergman on the mound.
And the scouts right behind home plate. Now, if you want to, of course, we're past the trade deadline, but you can still make deals. Guys have to clear waivers. But if you want a trade guy to be eligible for the postseason, he's got to be acquired by, well, what, by the 31st, right? Yeah. So you only got a couple of days here. A lot of scouts in the ballpark. Josh Colminter's just waiting for Ted Barrett to grant timeout. The crew chief has the play tonight.
That's a designated play that comes from the Diamondbacks bench. Just come to a set position, hold the ball, see if the batter will tip anything, see if the runner maybe will get a little antsy, start leaning towards second base, maybe give you an indication of what the Rockies might do.
Charlie Blackmon can run, 22 for 29 in the stolen base department. Drew Stubbs having a nice year with the Rockies. He's got 13 hits in his last 10 games, including a pair of home runs. No Willeen Rosario, no Troy Tulowitzki, no Michael Kadire, no Carlos Gonzalez. This team is beat up. Tulo's out for the year with that strained hip flexor. Cargo banged up all year. Had a bad knee injury. Rosario's got a bad wrist. Kadire, a hamstring. He's on the DL for the 3rd time this year. 1-1 to Drew Stubbs.
I ran into former Rocky Ryan Spielborgs in the lunchroom just before game time. He looks like he's fit and still able to play. They might want to run him down there and put him in a uniform. He's doing some pre and post game work for Rockies television.
Big swing and a miss from Stubbs. He is still striking out a ton. It's just kind of what he does. More than 31% of the time this year. That's a career high rate for a guy who led the league in strikeouts 3 years ago. Colminter bounces one. It's 2-2.
111 strikeouts against only 21 base on balls for Drew Stubbs this season. As you said, that's just who he is. He swings and misses a lot, especially on pitches elevated on the inside part of the plate.
Justin Morneau, the National League's leading hitter, is on deck. Foul ball up the third base line, says Mark Rippiger down there. Stubbs acquired from Cleveland last winter for pitcher Josh Outman. He's turned in a pretty nice season with the Rockies. It started slowly. He was not getting consistent at bats or playing time, but when the dust settles on 2014, he will have had a nice season in Colorado. 296 on the year with 13 homers right now. This is away and it's full.
Dangerous proposition here for Walt Weiss. I know he would like to start Charlie Blackmon over there at first base, but as we've documented, Drew Stubbs strikes out a ton. So in an effort to stay out of a potential double play, you might run into a strike him out, throw him out double play.
Blackmon off with a pitch. Stubbs fouls it off behind Stu Cole at third. Walt Weiss says that Stubbs has brought an element he thinks the Rockies needed this year. With his speed, he has the ability to steal a base, go first to third on a long single, or score from first on a short double. The key is getting on base, all those strikeouts. Blackmon takes off again. Sure enough, Stubbs strikes out, and Montero throws him out. You called it, BB. There it is. The strike him out, throw him out quickly, 2 down.
Boy, nice job by Miggy. It's not always easy to track that ball all the way in when the batter swings and misses, but Miguel Montero stays right on that pitch. Nice pick at second base by Cliff Pennington. He's able to hang on to complete the strike him out, throw him out double play. That away.
I know Stubbs has speed and you like him up near the top of the order, but can you have a guy that strikes out that much batting in the 2-hole?
Well, I think if they had all their weapons intact, he probably wouldn't be hitting in the 2-hole, but for the time being, that's where they like it.
Justin Morneau, the National League's hitting leader, a 1-pitch ground ball, and that's the inning for Colementor, just underway on Labor Day weekend in downtown Phoenix. Ender Inciarte and Cliff Pennington ready to lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Just underway, no score at Chase Field. Your Arizona fourth starting pitcher for the Rockies is 26-year-old rookie right-hander Christian Bergman, just his 5th major league start. He's a 24th round draft pick out of Cal Irvine, and this is Bergman's 2nd start after he suffered a broken left hand earlier this year. Got hit by a line drive, but he was a winner his last time out.
Yeah, so far in his major league career, he's had a little trouble missing bats. Features a sinking fastball, a straight changeup, an occasional curveball. Last season pitching for Tulsa, in 27 games, he gave up 25 home runs.
Ouch. Yeah, he's had kind of the same track record here, just under 22 innings in the big league so far. He's given up 32 hits, 5 of them home runs. Ender Inciarte on classic TV night with the Joey from Friends look. How you doing? Ball 1 to Ender. A classic TV night theme throughout the ballpark tonight. 267 and 3 homers for Inciarte. Drives this one to center field. It backs up Stubbs at the track, and he's got room. Welcome back, Brenly. You got a note from Epstein's mother?
Well, it looks like some of the classes I taught back in Fresno.
With With the material that Mr. Cotter's had, that blazer, remember they had the elbow patches on it?
Corduroy or something, yeah.
With Horseshack and Washington and Epstein. And
nice. It's about the attention I drew from my classes as well.
Commanded the classroom. Yeah. Vinny Barbarino and everybody. Good to have you back. A well-earned vacation.
Yeah, thank you. It was good. What do you do on your vacation? You jump on a plane, go watch a ball game, stay in a hotel.
Wow. What a novel idea.
Yeah.
Your Eastern League tour continues.
Yeah, I got to visit Manchester, New Hampshire, where the Fisher Cats play their home games, and the Portland Sea Dogs went in there and swept them a 3-game series.
Sea Dogs are about 80 games over 500 this year.
They're rolling right into the playoffs. Yeah, I think they are about 32 maybe over, depending on what they did tonight.
Led by a young catcher named Michael Brenly. 3-1 to Pennington now.
And then on the trip home, I stopped in Chicago to see my daughter Lacey and her husband Pat and our new granddaughter Gemma Rose. That was wonderful to see her for 3 days.
Some serious grandpa time.
Yes, indeed. The spoiling has only begun.
Well, Gonzo held down the fort admirably while you were on your vacation.
I do appreciate that.
And now he's next door filling in for Candy on the radio side with the governor.
He never pinch hit this much in his career.
A 1-out walk for Cliff Pennington. He's on base again. There's Gonzo. There's Leo Gilmartin. Looking forward to tonight's edition of Snake Talk on the radio side, following every home game. We really made some a big breakthrough while you were gone with the Snake Talk name. It seems to have really taken off.
Yeah, that was one of my only regrets, being gone for a week. I didn't get to catch Snake Talk on my drive home.
David Peralta. Ratings took a nosedive.
You know, we saw Jody talking in the pregame show about the number of pitchers that the Diamondbacks have used this year, starting pitchers. Well, you're not going to get any sympathy from the other side of the field here tonight. Bergman is one of 15 starting pitchers that the Rockies have had to go through, and we still have a month left in the season.
Can you imagine?
Texas Rangers and Miami Marlins each have used 13 different starters. The Twins and the Yankees have used 12, and the Diamondbacks are in a group of 5 teams that have used 11 starters. But as usual, the Rockies at the top of the list.
Their rotation right now missing Brett Anderson, Yoeli Chacin, Tyler Chatwood, Boone Logan, and Tommy Kahnle, both on the DL and not in the bullpen. I saw a story today that someone had put in a waiver claim block on Jorge De La Rosa. Patrick Corbin among the injured for the Diamondbacks. Walt Weiss knows from that. Fly ball center field. Drew Stubbs one more time. Take a look at the lineup for the Diamondbacks tonight against Christian Bergman, the rookie right-hander.
Well, we're 3 deep. We've seen Inciarte, Pennington, and Peralta since coming back from his injury. 16 games. Cliff Pennington hitting nearly 300. Mark Trumbo will be cleaning up tonight. Miguel Montero in the 5-hole. Jake Lamb down at third base. Alfredo Marte out in left field. Didi Gregorius at shortstop. And right-hander Josh Colmenter on the mound for the D-backs.
Mark Trumbo on the DVTV scoreboard right now. They've got him in the Ricky Ricardo pose. Up there with Lucy. You don't get any more classic TV than I Love Lucy.
I'm telling you. Lucy, you got some explaining to do.
Some explaining to do. I think Fred and Ethel Mertz really did they were kind of the pioneers of the old wacky neighbor role. It seems like every classic TV show had the wacky neighbor.
And the way TV operates nowadays, Fred and Ethel would have had their own show.
No, a spinoff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's the Fred and Ethel show. And they would have had a neighbor, and then they would have had a show. Speaking of Fred, hello, dum-dums. He's listening to Greg Schulte and Gonzo right now on the radio side. 2-0 to Trumbo.
If you're going to pull off a Fred Flintstone costume.
Fly ball in the right field corner. I was waiting for the finish.
You got to do a better job with the headphones. Those are today's headphones. You know, you need to put some rocks on the outside of them or something. Come on, Fred.
Stay in character,
Come
Fred.
on, Fred.
Be here tomorrow night. It's Alumni Night, presented by Sanderson Ford. The first 20,000 fans get this gorgeous Bob Brenly bobblehead. The Diamondbacks for the ball game will have the old throwback purple and teal uniforms on, and then after the final out, D-backs favorites from years gone by will be on the field. It's our third annual alumni game. All the information and tickets, visit dbacks.com, and we'll see you here tomorrow night. That is going to be a momentous occasion. A lot of discussion before the game about how you should throw your opening pitch. We're still in negotiations. Nolan Arenado hits that one along the right field line, but it's in the seats. I mean, you got to make a splash, man. You got to do something, right? You can't just go out there and lob one in.
We may have a treat for the fans. It's still under construction. I need to talk to an orthopedic surgeon to see how much more damage I can do.
We were conducting some physics experiments out here earlier, trying to figure out what you were capable of, and Gonzo, of course, will be down there. Yeah. Team Gonzalez versus Team Swindell. The draft rages on. Still negotiating right up until a 0 hour, essentially, about who's going to play for who.
There is no trade deadline for the alumni game. We can make trades right up until middle of the game.
Arenado, 301 and 14 homers, just named National League Player of the Week. But he hits a slow roller to Pennington. This is Team Gonzalez so far. This is Gonzo's team. Brandon Webb is here with us tonight, but only in a coaching capacity. It was a tremendous blow to Gonzo when he drafted Webby, only to find out he was not actually going to be able to go.
He can only use his expertise as a pitching coach.
Only Gonzo would draft a guy who can't play first. It makes a lot of sense.
Well, Gonzo understands the value of team morale and camaraderie and all that good stuff. And Webby brings a lot to the table, even though he can't throw a ball out of his own shadow anymore.
Corey Dickerson. This has become one of the best hitters in the National League, and he is really hot right now. 315 and 20 homers. But boy, last 20 games he's hit over 330, including 5 doubles and 7 home runs. And he is making a run at the batting title, just needs enough plate appearances to qualify.
Oh, and on a personal level, a couple days ago, something that had to be a big thrill for Corey Dickerson, hit one into McCovey Cove at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Only the third time a Rocky has reached the Cove. The other two were Carlos Gonzalez. Yeah, but when you're a left-handed hitter playing in the National League West, that's a target.
Not only that, it was the 100th splash hit in the McCovey Cove at AT&T Park. There it is off Tim Hudson. It actually broke up a no-hitter in the 5th inning. On the fly, in the drink. Number 100. 35 of those splash hits were by Barry Bonds, but it's Dickerson who gets the 100th. And we talked about how Arenado was just named National League Player of the Week. The player who won the award the week before was Corey Dickerson. So these guys are hot right now. 11 for 28 that week, 4 doubles and 3 home runs. It's full 3-2. And he is racing with Justin Morneau for the NL batting title, trying to get enough plate appearances to qualify. He has gotten his chance to play nearly every day this year because of all their injuries, and he has come through big time. He just needs to average about 4 plate appearances a game the rest of the way home to qualify. You got to get 502 to qualify for the batting title. And if the Rockies do break up their current roster and start over to some degree this winter, and Troy Tulowitzki said publicly this year, maybe it's time to do that. This is a guy who you build around. It's just 25 years old. I figured Dickerson and Arenado, these guys are some of the best players in the league.
Corey Dickerson, one of those guys that's hit everywhere he's been coming up through the Rockies system. A .321 minor league hitter. And they think he's going to hit at the major league level just like he did everywhere else.
Well, 3 straight groundouts to Cliff Pennington at second base. 2 down in the second. Brings up the fort, Mike McHenry. Marlene Rosario is out. He's been battling that inflamed wrist all season, so McHenry is the catcher. The former Pirate having a nice year at .317 with 5 homers. Last year in Pittsburgh, he played 41 games and hit .217. This year in Colorado, he's played 42 games and hit .317. So it's been a good year. Not so much, though, for Marlene Rosario, who just was never healthy this season. Back-to-back 20 homer seasons the last 2 years. He's got just 10 home runs this year. And just went back on the DL Wednesday with that left wrist inflammation. All off-speed stuff so far, and it's 3-0.
Yeah, it had not been that way before this at bat. Josh Coleman had worked his way through this Rockies top of the lineup, just throwing mostly fastballs, a couple of changeups. But here with McHenry at the plate, he's mixed in some curves, some straight changes. Fastball right down the middle there to get back in the count.
Popped him up on 3-1. Shallow left center. Boy, Didi can really cover some ground out there. 5 in a row retired by Coleman. No score at Chase Field. Chevrolet. Find great offers at the Chevy Labor Day sale going on now. Find new roads at your local Valley Chevy dealer. And by Chase Bank. Chase brings you the Chase the Moment sweepstakes. Tweet hashtag Chase the Moment and tell us your favorite D-backs moment for a chance to win one-of-a-kind Chase Field experiences. Downtown Phoenix on a Friday night. Diamondbacks and Rockies, no score set for the home half of the second inning. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly with you here. As Miguel Montero will lead it off against rookie right-hander Christian Bergman on classic TV night at the ballpark. And they've got Miggy on the DB-TV board, dressed up as Woody. No, he's not Woody. Oh, he's Sam. With that hair? See, the hair does not work there at all, guys. Come on. Rob.
Looks like Bartolo Colon.
He does. From Sam Malone to Bartolo Colon. I know Sam Malone used to wear a lot of cologne. That's about as close as you can get.
You saw those numbers for Miggy. It'd be much better if he does what he's done the last 3 games against the Rockies. 7 for 10 with 3 homers and 10 driven in 3 days. Stay hot.
Coming off an 0 for 5 Tuesday against the Dodgers. That snapped a 3-game hit streak. So he's had a couple of days off here. A .287 career hitter versus Colorado. And he's ahead 3-1. 3 straight balls from Bergman. Leadoff walk, second walk issued by Bergman. This guy got 3 fastballs, a 2-seam sinker, a straight 4-seamer, and a cutter, all thrown with about the same frequency. So you'll see a lot of fastballs. There's a slider he mixes in, a very occasional changeup. But he has shown pretty good command so far. He's had only walked 5 through 4 major league starts, but he's walked 2 so far here in 1+. 20 pitches, 13 for balls. Jake Lamb has the beeve. Jake Lamb, Leave It to Beaver probably went off the air 50 years before Jake Lamb was born.
It was funny to watch Jake Lamb in the on-deck circle while Miguel Montero was taking his at-bat. Watch, it's almost like a mirror image. Now, Jake Lamb is in the on-deck circle. He's watching Christian Bergman on the mound, just trying to get some rhythm and timing in his approach in that on-deck circle before he gets in the batter's box. But it looked like he was doing whatever Miggy was doing up there at the plate.
Jake had a pair of walks in Tuesday's game against the Dodgers. 216 on the year with a homer. 10 hits in his last 12 games, including that home run. And showing more and more patience at the plate, getting deeper into counts. Characteristics as a hitter that he has always featured in the minor leagues. Bergman having a hard time throwing strikes. 23 pitches so far, only 8 strikes.
Well, I like this matchup for Jake Lamb. I think he's got a chance to do some damage against Bergman tonight. Has a count in his favor right here. Bergman not overpowering with any of the fastballs that he throws. His breaking stuff is not off the charts good. The changeup inconsistent. Should be a good matchup for Jake.
Well, he walked Montero to lead off the inning, and he's run at 3-1 on Lamb. Twice as many balls as strikes now from Bergman.
Just the location of this fastball up there above the belt at 87. That's a ball that should get hit hard.
There goes Montero. Lamb strikes out. The throw from McHenry is in there in plenty of time to complete the strike him out, throw him out. Quickly 2 down.
Boy, another very hittable fastball for Jake Lamb right down the middle of the plate. And much like when Drew Stubbs was at the plate, you start a runner with a strikeout candidate at the plate, you got just as good a chance of running into a strike him out, throw him out double play.
Well, Jake really worked himself into a nice hitters count there at 3-1 and ended up punching out. Here's Alfredo Marte. There's the strike 0-1. Marte 209, 2 homers. He's hit in 3 straight games and 7 of his last 9. To LeMahieu at second, and that's the inning. We are through 2 at Chase Field. No score. D-backs and Rockies. Download the Circle K mobile app today on your mobile device and visit your local Circle K for details. For the purchase of a 20-ounce Pepsi, you can win tickets to Super Bowl 49 in Arizona this February. Thumbs up. ASU fans all fired up. Big win over Weber State last night. They ran wild. U of A opens up with UNLV. College football season is here.
Be back.
Josh Rutledge, Alabama Crimson Tide guy, fouls that one off along the right field line. Rutledge, the playing time has increased this summer with Tulowitzki out. He's at .251 and 3 homers. But slumping right now, batting only about .140 over his last 19 games. It's that in the air to center field, but right to ender Inciarte. 6 in a row set down by Colementor.
Second baseman, number 9, DJ LeMahieu.
From an Alabama Crimson Tide to an LSU Tiger, DJ LeMahieu. And an SEC theme going here.
In the National League West. How does that work?
One of those weird things. Well, we've got a MAC theme going with you and Colementor, Central Michigan, Ohio.
And the newest Diamondback, Nolan Reimold from Bowling Green State University, another MAC school.
Nolan acquired yesterday on waivers from the Toronto Blue Jays. Nolan Reimold, a right-hand hitting power hitter. There he is. Just joined the team today. Xavier Paul has been moved. And so Reimold, who had a promising start to his career with Baltimore and ran into all kinds of horrific injury issues. He's had 2 neck surgeries. Trying to get his career going again now with the D-backs. Just has not been able to stay healthy. But he's feeling good now, set to go. And with the Diamondbacks. He did not go. Paul Schreiber says down at first. So it's 2-2 on DJ LeMahieu. 265 and 4 home runs. Unique to the Rockies in one important way. He's one of the few everyday guys who's been healthy all year. But he has not hit a ton, hitting just .220 since the All-Star break. Gregorius, the backhand, stop and throw. Look at that arm. 2 down in the 3rd. Scouts grade on a 20-80 scale, 20 being the worst, 80 being Hall of Fame level, 50 being Major League average. Didi Gregorius, we're told, has an 80 arm.
Only because that's as high as you can go in the Major League Scout grading system. But boy, not only a strong throw, but able to make throws from odd angles, running away from his target, and rarely throws one away.
The pitcher, Christian Bergman. He's a Cal Irvine guy. What are they, the Anteaters?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
24th round pick. Bergman, so far in the big leagues, has shown good command with his stuff out there on the mound. Only 4 walks in 4 starts, but he's walked 2 so far tonight already. And has thrown a lot more balls than strikes out there on the mound.
His real issue on the mound has been missing bats and keeping the ball in the ballpark. 91 minor league starts. He gave up 62 home runs.
And he strikes out to end the 3rd. 8 in a row. Set down by Josh Coleman. No score at Chase Field.
When I was on the DL, still recovering. You know, I really worked my way into it and got a lot of at-bats. It took me a long time to get comfortable. Again, I brought that in, when I first got picked up, and then I had a little stint on the DL again, and with no at-bats when I came back, it was just uncomfortable.
Our Geico quote of the game, the newest Diamondback, Nolan Reimold, waived by Baltimore in July after opening the season on the DL with lingering effects after multiple neck surgeries. He was picked up by Toronto, played at only 4 games for the Blue Jays when he had to go back on the DL, this time with a calf. Came back and had a 2-homer game in Houston, had a walk-off winner in another game for Toronto, but hit just .212 in 22 games for the Blue Jays. Came off their 40-man roster, and now here he is in Sedona Red.
He's kind of an interesting cat. A second-round pick by the Orioles back in 2005. Had 15 homers in his rookie season in only 104 ball games. Had another season with 13 homers in 87 games. You mentioned the right-handed pop. Hopefully you get him back to as close to 100% health as you possibly can and see if some of that power still isn't in there.
Some guys have injury issues, but what Nolan Reimold has been through is just horrible. As Didi Gregorius leads off the third. Reimold 2 seasons ago got off to a great start, had 5 homers at the end of April, was hitting .313, but injured his neck diving into the left field stands at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago. Tried to play through it, had to go on the DL. But by June, they told him he needed surgery to remove a herniated disc in his neck, and the vertebrae had to be fused together. The same spinal fusion procedure that Peyton Manning had a few years ago. And he wound up playing only in 16 games all year. Then he came back last year, made the Orioles opening day roster, but still had lingering weakness on one side, and it was kind of out of balance and developed a hamstring strain from that imbalance until they discovered that he actually needed another neck operation because they found the vertebrae from the original surgery was not fusing together. And the stress of playing was making it worse as Gregorius strikes out. And so a neurosurgeon recommended another spinal surgery. And last year he was only able to play in 40 games. So he's just been through this horrible road. He just couldn't get any consistent playing time, and Diamondbacks might offer him that opportunity. Because when he's been healthy, he's hit, he's produced. I would say that the boys in DBTV land did their best work with the classic TV photos on Josh Colementer.
Oh,
I mean, this is
great.
As Kramer. That's dead on. That is outstanding. A nice recovery from the Miguel Montero cheers fiasco of the previous inning.
It's a lot like the AT&T fan photo. They have an opportunity to go up and down very quickly.
Josh Rutledge throws out Colementer 2 down.
Oh my!
Yeah, please. If I would be, there's no way that in that photo that I'm not Potsy. There's no chance. Sit on it, Potsy. That's
good.
I could maybe pull off the hair. That's about it. Remember in the original, I appreciate Meg Buck and not making me Ralph Malph or something. Remember in the original Happy Days, Fonzie had the gray jacket?
No, I don't.
Yeah, because they decided to say if he had the black leather jacket, he'd be too much of a hood, too mean a guy, and so he had the gray jacket, and they eventually switched. It's the kind of thing that Jeff Munn would bring up on Snake Talk, which you can hear after the ball game. Ender Inciarte flying out his first time. Ender's hit safely in 4 straight. Got 7 hits in his last 4 games, including 2 doubles and a triple. And he is hitting over 300 since the All-Star break. What are the chances that growing up as a kid in Venezuela, Ender Inciarte actually watched Gunsmoke?
Slim to none.
Sheriff Matt Dillon, the whole thing. Ender slaps that out to left. Corey Dickerson. As we get through 3 at Chase Field, it's a big sit on it, Potsy, from the gang at Happy Days. Press presented by Cox Communications and Fry's Food Stores is headed to Chase Field for a D-backs game September 14th or the 28th. You can get on board. Stop by this month's participating Cox retail store in Tolleson or the Fry's Food Store in Flagstaff. Enter to win 2 seats on the Fan Express bus to and from the game either September 14th or the 28th. We'll see you down here. All the info you need is at foxsportsarizona.com. 8 straight set down by Josh Colmenter as Charlie Blackmon, who's got the only hit in the ball game so far, leads off the 4th. Christian Bergman has walked 2, struck out 2, but he's yet to allow a hit. It has not been a productive August for Charlie Blackmon. He's only got 4 extra base hits all month. And this was a guy who 2 months into the season already had 10 homers from the leadoff spot, hitting about .320. But a lot of that power is faded. Only 5 home runs in the last 3 months. Roller to shortstop, right to Didi. This looks like one of those games where Colmenter will flirt with facing the minimum again. Done that a couple of times.
I'm all on board for that.
9 in a row retired following the Blackmon leadoff single. 1 down in the 4th. Here's Drew Stubbs.
I think Josh feels like he has great command of his fastball tonight. I mentioned it a couple of innings ago. He hadn't really mixed in a lot of breaking balls. Hasn't thrown a lot of changeups up to this point of the ball game.
First pitch right to Jake Lamb. Quickly 2 ground ball outs for Colmenter. 10 straight set down.
You get a major league pitcher that feels like he can command his fastball. It makes it look like 4 or 5 or 6 different pitches. You throw it down and in, you throw it up and away, you throw it up and in, you throw it low and away, and you get that hitter in a rocking chair and just continue to paint those corners, elevate when you want to, get it down when you want to. You can get by with just a fastball.
Well, the first time up against Justin Morneau, he got the National League's leading hitter to hit the first pitch and ground right to second. This time Morneau takes a strike. Right now leading the race for the NL batting title after Michael Kadire won it last year with the Rockies. And Morneau, another veteran, another former Minnesota Twin with a bounce back season in Colorado. Been a nice signing for the Rockies. And once again he hits it right to Cliff Pennington. Josh Colmenter is rolling along. 11 straight retired by the Diamondbacks starter. No score at Chase. Sent your link to what's next. Cliff Pennington leads off the 4th. Chase Field. Rockies and D-backs no score, set for the 4th inning on a Friday night in downtown Phoenix. Glad you're with us. Steve Hume, Bob Brenly along the way. Alumni game tomorrow. Team Gonzalez versus Team Swindell. Here is the roster that will face Gonzo's team. Got some hitters in this group.
Got some boppers in that gang.
Kelly Stinnett, Turner Ward, Diamondback hitting coach, of course. Reggie Sanders always in great shape. Steve Finley, I bet, could still play.
The thing is, the older the guys get, the harder it is to bend over and pick up ground balls. So I think if you want to win an alumni game, get your guys to hit it on the ground. Make them bend over. Probably won't be able to stand up.
The other part of that, though, is if you do hit it on the ground, you then have to run.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where things get problematic.
We'll have ambulances parked in foul territory for the alumni game.
Oxygen masks at every base.
Well, you know one guy who's going to be fired up for alumni days, Junior Spivey. He's going to approach that like Game 7 of the World Series. That's the only way he knows how to play, whether it's an exhibition game after a Diamondbacks game or a playoff game playing for the Diamondbacks. You got to play hard.
Looks like Spivey will be hitting second for Team Gonzo. And Pennington, who walked his first time up, gets another base on balls. Third walk tonight issued by Christian Bergman, who threw 45 pitches so far, has thrown more balls than strikes.
Boy, in second time through, you'd like to think that the Diamondbacks, after getting a look at Christian Bergman first time through, will have a much better idea second time around. This guy certainly doesn't appear to be overpowering. That two-seam fastball that he throws doesn't really have sinking action. It just kind of tails away from the lefties and into the righties. I would like to think second time through, Diamondbacks are going to get some better passes at him.
Leadoff man aboard in the 4th. D-backs still looking for their first hit. There's strike one to Peralta, who flied out to center his first time. As Spock. See, you're wearing a Diamondbacks hat. Live long and prosper. Oh, Penny was jumping towards second base on first move. Bergman kind of just gave a half a flinch, and Pennington took off, then had to stop.
Yeah, that's one of those times you get such a good jump, you tell yourself, I better stop.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah, should have just kept going. He would have been able to make it into second base standing up that time, but you make that crossover step, maybe another step or two towards second base, and realize the pitcher's still standing there holding the baseball.
Wait a minute, something's wrong here. And there he does it again, takes off, and sure enough, Peralta knocks it right into the hole. But what a play by LeMahieu. And Pennington has to stay at second. He would have made third base easily on that. Somehow LeMahieu kept that ball from getting into right field.
That's just a great defensive play by the Rockies second baseman. You see, the shortstop was responsible for covering the bag on the stolen base attempt, leaving LeMahieu at his defensive position where he's able to make that diving stop and keep the ball out of right field.
So Pennington at second with a one out for Trumbo, who flied out his first time. He's due to hit one about 500 feet. It's coming. He's hit in 5 straight games and 6 of his last 7. Hitting just over 260 since the All-Star break, but still just the 1 home run since his return from the foot injury. That kept him out nearly 3 months. You get the feeling that once he hits one, it's going to be like that run he had in April where he homered in 4 straight games. Once you open up that can, it's going to come pouring out. Last homer August 9th against the Rockies 16 games ago.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
.50 pitches for Bergman, 25 balls, 25 strikes. And now Mike McHenry wants to talk it over. Mike McHenry has talked about trying to learn some of these young Rockies pitchers and what it takes to work with them. He says you do that by keeping your mouth shut and your ears open and find out what makes each pitcher tick. Some guys are bulldogs, he says. You got to go out and slap them on the chest and say, okay, let's go. Other guys, you just kind of babysit them a little bit. And he says you can go through the scouting report, you can learn opposing hitters, but his job also involves watching all these young guys, and you've talked about that, 15 different guys. Watch these young guys learn themselves and not just the other team and the other hitters, figuring out what their strength is, what's their identity, how am I going to pitch every single day. They're trying to figure out who they are out there on the mound, and he's got to kind of nurse them through it.
The little white lie always helps a catcher. I had some guys I caught with the Giants. One guy in particular said he threw a curveball and a slider, and they both looked exactly the same coming out of his hand. The break was exactly the same. Velocity was exactly the same, and I'd go down to warm him up before a start. How's my curveball? Oh, it's nasty. It's really biting today. How's my slider? Oh, it's really good. I let him believe for the better part of 3 seasons that he threw 2 different breaking balls. They were exactly the same pitch. But as long as he felt like they were both working, they were weapons for him, even though it was the same pitch.
One thing to learn a pitching staff, it's another thing to learn a pitching staff full of guys who are trying to learn themselves. And that's what it's been like in Colorado. Here's the 3-2 to Trumbo. Play on at second. Pennington is back in time. Henry actually went through the same thing when he was on some of those bad Pirates teams. He'd run through a dozen new pitchers, a lot of them kids, every year. So this is something he's gone through before, trying to learn what they throw, what motivates them, holding things together back there and getting them through what might be a 100-loss season. Just foul. And it right to John Kladnick down the left field line. There's John, our Golden Glover down there. Gary Schiffman working right field tonight. There's Gary. Ball 4. 4th walk issued by Bergman. He had walked 4 in his first 4 major league starts. He's walked 4 here tonight.
Catcher, Miguel Montero.
So it's 2 on, 1 out for Montero, who walked his first time up.
Start cashing in some of these opportunities. Obviously, I wasn't here for that short 2-game Dodger series, but you were giving me the report on the games, and apparently they had Clayton Kershaw on the rope several times in that game and let him get off each time.
They had the bases loaded on Kershaw early in the ball game. It was the first time all season that Kershaw had had the bases loaded. Bases loaded, 1 out. Couldn't get a run in. And then the next 2 innings had the leadoff man on with nobody out. Couldn't get him home, including a leadoff triple by Inciarte. So they have had their chances, just looking for that big hit.
Well, they've got the right guy at the plate right now. Miguel Montero with runners in scoring position against these Rockies. 4 for his last 5 with a couple of homers.
Pennington, the runner at second. Trumbo at first. Quickly 0-2. Christian Bergman earlier this year had been treading water in AAA, trying to survive pitching in the Coast League and at Colorado Springs. 5-5 in 15 starts, an ERA just over 4. Had good control in the minors. Didn't walk very many guys at all. And he has struggled with the command tonight. In the air to center. Drew Stubbs backing up, still backing up, but he's got room on the track. Pennington will tag and head for third. Well, the Brenly Committee is back in session, so fans, let's see those fan photos with the Twitter and the hashtag and the whole thing. AZ Fan Photo for your chance to have your fan photo shown in our upcoming broadcast. Gonzo, BB, did an admirable job trying to hold down the fort. Good nights and bad. Overall, probably C+. But he rescued a tortoise in his house. I don't know if you heard this story. Threw it in the back of his pickup truck and drove it to the turtle rescue people. It was an 80-pound tortoise. And so the next day, the photo was of a turtle with a Diamondback helmet on. So he broke the no varmints rule. But given his humanitarian and Herculean efforts from the previous day, we decided to let the no varmints rule pass.
An 80-pound tortoise just showed up in his backyard?
Yeah, he picked it up with the help of a neighbor, put it in the back of a pickup. They drove it to the Herpetological Society, where they rescue turtles and tortoises and tortoisei, and nice job by Gonzo.
Yeah.
But he had some great pictures that we showed during the broadcast, and somehow they found their way into the fan photo. It looked a little something like this, BB. He found that just walking across. Actually, he said he found it walking down the street in front of his house. Didn't want anything to happen to it. So got a neighbor. They picked it up and put it in the back of his truck.
Okay.
Do we have the shot of the flip-flop on top of the tortoise, the sandal? Gonzo put a sandal on top of the shell to kind of give you perspective. He's got, I think, a size 13 foot, he said. They didn't send that one. As Jake Lamb strikes out, and the Diamondbacks strand 2 more base runners, still without a hit through 4. No score, Chase. Tonight, classic TV night here at Chase Field. Up next, it's Oktoberfest. Presented by Ballpark Brand, Friday, September 26th. Break out your lederhosen. Brush up on your polka music, and let's watch some Bundesliga. Each Oktoberfest ticket package will include this 16-ounce ceramic D-backs Oktoberfest Stein.
Yeah.
It'll be Stein night. And access to the exclusive beer garden that we're setting up inside the ballpark. You'll get your Stein, fans, remember this, only if you purchase the special ticket package. So visit dbacks.com/events, and we'll see you here at Chase Field for Oktoberfest as Nolan Arenado hops up to Gregorius to open up the 5th, 12 in a row now, set down by Josh Pullmentor. Did you pick up any German last year when you were over there?
9.
Well, hold on. Apparently you may have. The only German I learned was from watching Hogan's Heroes. Which is how I spent my misspent youth here on Classic TV night.
I see nothing.
Hogan, darling. Corey Dickerson. D-backs Bierstein. That's a pretty good deal.
That's clutch.
I like that. That'll get you through the winter.
Yeah, it's multi-purpose. Good for cocoa, you know. Anything. Doesn't have to be beer. Although beer works really well in a stein.
Dickerson grounded out his first time, and he's going to ground out his second time. This for me was the best show ever. Hogan's Heroes, an odd couple, tough, neck and neck, 50-50. But I spent most of my youth watching Hogan's Heroes on Channel 38 in Boston, WSBK.
There you go.
3 pitches, 2 outs so far for Colementor, who's retired 13 straight after Charlie Blackmon singled to lead off the ball game. That is still the only hit of the game for either side. What was your big show as a youth in Coshocton?
I had a lot of different shows I used to watch. The thing was, as Jody found out asking the players, the guys didn't sit around and watch a lot of TV. They were out playing ball or working out or playing other sports. You really didn't spend a lot of time watching primetime TV, but I was a big fan of Hee Haw, mostly because where I was raised in East Central Ohio, those were my neighbors.
Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs.
Yeah, Junior Samples. Gloom, despair, and agony on me.
Where, oh, where? That song they used to do, yeah. Hee-haw.
That was good stuff.
Buck Owens come out there with his banjo. Or they used to have that red, white, and blue guitar. I remember that.
Yes, he did. Ooh.
Called strike 3 on Mike McHenry. Third strikeout for Colementor, who has retired 14 in a row, but still only 1 hit in the ball game so far. Brought to you in part by Chevrolet. Find great offers at the Chevy Labor Day sale going on now. Find new roads at your local Valley Chevy dealer. Mountainside Fitness here at the ballpark. The Sandlot, a great place for the kids at Chase Field. No score Rockies and Diamondbacks in what has been a very unusual pitchers duel. We've so far had between the two teams only 1 single hit in the ball game, and that was the very first batter. Charlie Blackmon had a single to lead it off against Josh Colementor. Colementor since has retired 14 in a row. And on the other side, you've got rookie Christian Bergman making only his 5th major league start. He has not allowed a hit through 4, but he's walked 4 guys. So go figure.
The two pitchers that I don't believe either one of them has cracked the 90-mile-per-hour mark yet in this ball game. Josh Colementor always pitches in the mid to upper 80s with his fastball, which was why there was a little bit of concern for his start down in Miami when he was topping out at 83 and 84. Apparently Bergman has hit 90 at least once today.
Colementor with an 8-pitch 4th inning and a 7-pitch 5th. Well, it looks like he might flirt with one of those games where he faces the minimum or just above. Just needs some offense now. Marte lined out to second his first time. That was right down the middle, wasn't it?
He's throwing the invisible. There's a term for that. When a guy isn't throwing particularly hard, he's throwing the ball in the strike zone, and guys are swinging right through it. It must be invisible when it gets into that hitting zone. That's the only way you can possibly explain the swings and misses we've seen from some of the Diamondbacks hitters tonight.
Jake Lamb has swung and missed at 3 or 4 balls that look to be right down the middle.
At 87.
Marte holds up there. On the DB-TV board as Lamont from Sanford and Son. Fred, the plan is dead. Grady, you're still shady.
It's a big one, Elizabeth.
I'm coming to join you, honey. Marte, is this the game's first hit? Nope. Drew Stubbs tracks it down. Diamondbacks still trying to get in the hit column. Didi Gregorius, a 4-game hit streak on the line. He struck out his first time. As the Fresh Prince.
That doesn't look much different than Didi usually looks.
It's true.
I know the fans are just as hungry as I am for some tacos. Anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations. 16 games without tacos for lunch. Come on now.
Got to get a hit first. Strikes out Gregorius. Bergman starting to throw strikes a little more frequently. That's 4 strikeouts to match the 4 walks. 2 down in the 5th. And here's Colementer. Well, that's a stat. As Colementer comes up to the Munsters theme here on Classic TV night. Well, Josh having a tough night on the old DB-TV board. He went from Kramer to Herman Munster. Al Lewis's grandpa, who was a great NBA scout in his day. And just missed a fair ball up the first base line right by Paul Schreiber.
Really?
He was one of the great early NBA scouts, Al Lewis. I think that was his name, right, Al Lewis? And of course, last year we had Eddie Munster. Remember that, signing pictures out in the RamTrucks.com pool area, and we have a personally signed photo here in our broadcast booth. Colementer, right center field, get down. There it is, the first D-backs hit, and Josh will head for second. As soon as I mentioned the lucky Eddie Munster photo, the Diamondbacks get their first hit. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Eddie's going to have to take a more prominent spot in the booth here as Josh Colementer with that slashing swing drives one to the gap in right center. Tremendous speed out there for Drew Stubbs, and even he can't catch up to that gapper.
Got another pitch from Bergman right down the middle. And it's Colementer who delivers. So 1 hit apiece A runner on second with 2 down for Inciarte, who's 0 for 2. A lucky Eddie Munster photo could become a thing.
Might have to become a thing.
I have to get him back here.
Always looking for a thing. And players are always looking for things too, you know, the pants, wearing them up to the knee, showing a lot of sock, and then wearing the pants down, different shoes, different batting gloves. You try everything until you get one of those 2 or 3 hit games, drive in a couple of runs.
Inciarte yanks that one down the right field line, but foul. Yeah, we just saw Bryce Harper in Washington. Every day he had a different bat or different shoes on, or socks up, socks down.
Take a different route to the ballpark, a different lunch before the game, whatever it takes. Trying to find that magic combination. I think we might have found it here in the booth. Yeah, don't look at the fat head back there in the back there.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, it
the
could
Bob
be.
Brenly big head.
Well, I hope not.
This has got a chance to get in the seats. McHenry will give it a look, but it's off the top of the dugout. Yeah, this is a really nice. Can we get another shot of this, guys?
Oh, yeah, we can't get enough shots of that.
Well, we got a foul ball. We got to kill some time here.
I'm going to have nightmares.
How did this find its way into the booth, actually?
I didn't even know there was one.
Look at that, huh?
Wow. You could show a movie on that forehead. That's a 5-head.
Nice.
Wow, that is scary.
It's a nice addition up here, I think.
I'm not going to sleep well tonight.
You never know what's going to wander in here. Ender carves one out to left, but right at Dickerson, and they strand the 2-out double. We are through 5, no score. D-backs and Rockies.
One of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game. We had another finalist for the Sanderson Ford automobile at the end of the season. Good luck to that gentleman. Boy, what a thrill that would be. Take home a car at the end of the season. Wow.
Drive home, yeah. Kind of Diamondback items on sale here at Chase Field. And a pitcher's duel between the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, first of 3 this weekend. Josh Comenter, an 8-pitch fourth, a 7-pitch fifth. He's retired 14 straight, working on a 1-hit shutout as he works to Josh Rutledge to open up the Rockies' 6th. How about that? That is efficiency.
I mean, even his highest pitch total for one inning is 16, which is right about the major league average. So Josh being obviously very efficient tonight.
57 pitches, 40 for strikes. All one to Rutledge, who flied out his first time. Rutledge had been the odd man out in the Rockies infield with the emergence of DJ LeMahieu at second base and Nolan Arenado at third. But with Troy Tulowitzki down with injuries once again, Rutledge is the shortstop pretty much every day. That's going to get in the seats and out of play. Comenter for a while last Friday looked to be on his way to his second career complete game after shutting out the Reds May 29th here at Chase. He faced the minimum 27 in that game. Comenter last Friday retired 15 straight after the third inning. If he gets Rutledge here, he'll retire 15 straight again in back-to-back ball games. He left a week ago after 8 1/3, gave up only 4 hits, and that went over San Diego. No walks, 8 strikeouts. And he's been even better tonight. It's full. Chance for Trumbo. Can't quite get there.
Needed just a little bit more hang time there. Looked like that ball got in on the hands of Rutledge just a little bit. Wasn't popped very high in the air down that first base line. No chance for a D-back defender to get there.
Ender Inciarte at the top of your screen in center field, shaded over toward the pool. There's a whole lot of room in left center field for Rutledge. He strikes out 15 in a row, set down by Comenter, who's got 4 strikeouts.
Good changeup from Josh that time. Got him way out in front. And as you just mentioned, Ender Inciarte was shaded to the gap in right center, making it a little dangerous to throw an off-speed pitch. If Rutledge does make contact, more than likely he's going to pull it back to left center or left field where the gap was. But Josh fooled him so badly on that pitch he couldn't make contact at all.
DJ LeMahieu grounded out to short his first time up. The Coley camouflage jersey.
Where? Couldn't see it. Of course, you can get fooled by a changeup when you've seen 7 fastballs in a row, which is how Josh Comenter set up Rutledge to get to that final swing and a miss changeup.
Is there a danger there in throwing all that many fastballs in a row?
I don't think so, because of the command that he has tonight. I mentioned it a couple of innings ago. You can tell early on he's got a lot of confidence in his ability to hit his spots or at least miss in his favor. There have been very few fastballs that have just been down the middle of the plate. They've been on the inside corner, the outside corner. He's been able to elevate up at the letters when he's wanted to and pound down at the knees when he's wanted to. I mean, there's always a danger throwing too many fastballs to any major league hitter because that's what they live on. Everybody wants to hit a fastball.
Called strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Comenter. 3 in a row. 2 down in the 6th.
An elevated fastball up in that upper quadrant of the strike zone just does nip the inside corner just below the letters.
2 down for the pitcher, Christian Bergman. Boy, among the concerns following Colementer's outing 2 starts ago in Miami was that decrease in velocity, low to mid 80s at best. And he got knocked around, gave up 5 runs, 7 hits, lasted only 4 innings at Marlins Park. In fact, even Miguel Montero had noticed that Colementer's velocity had been down a bit the previous few starts, so they skipped his bullpen session after the Miami start. The extra rest seemed to have helped. He was outstanding against the Padres, and He's been even better tonight. And the innings are a concern. He had 138 innings pitched this year going into this start. He threw only 92 innings all of last season when he worked just out of the bullpen. And so he began tonight having already thrown 46 more innings than he did all of last year. So that, combined with a decrease in velocity, had you thinking, maybe he's kind of hitting the wall here. But boy, based on the last 2 starts, he's never looked better.
Yeah, he insisted he felt fine even in that Marlins game. Just wasn't lighting up the radar gun the way we normally see him.
And now he has retired 17 in a row. No score at Chase. Back at Chase Field, Fans Saturday. MLB on Fox Sports 1 continues. The Reds take on the Pirates as Pittsburgh tries to stay in the playoff race in that NL Central. Coverage begins at 12:30 on Fox Sports 1 and streams live on Fox Sports Go. 1 hit apiece, Rockies and Diamondbacks. That'll send you to Cold Stone stand here at Chase Field, looking for some snacks on a Friday night. Christian Bergman has walked 4. He has struck out 4. He's given up only 1 hit, and that was to the opposing pitcher, Colementor, who has retired the last 17 Rockies he's faced as we open up the home half of the 6th.
It's been an odd outing for Josh Colementor. He's had 5 3-ball counts in this game and 3 at-bats that went 8 pitches, which usually tells you he's struggling, but then he turned right around and had 3 1-pitch outs and 2 2-pitch outs. So when he's needed to, he's been able to make those big pitches, and the fastball command has worked well for him in the early going.
Cliff Pennington, who has walked twice, leads it off. Pennington has hit just under 300 in 16 games since his return from the DL. 13 of those have been starts. He's back out there tonight at second base. Aaron Hill getting another night off. A little flare down the left field line, and that's out of play. Saw Aaron before the ball game again today, taking grounders at third base with Jake Lamb, and we are told that when Chris Owings comes back from his minor league rehab assignment, Owings will play second, and we may see Aaron Hill at third.
I think that's a valuable use of the games that the Diamondbacks have left this season. Start moving some guys around, see what it looks like, put different guys in different places, move them around in the batting order a little bit, just see how it all fits together moving forward.
And if you decide moving forward that you're going to go with the youth movement in the infield, does that make Aaron Hill more marketable if you're thinking about a trade? The guy can play second and play third.
Well, certainly on the surface it would appear so, especially with Cliff Pennington being the valuable utility guy that he is. He can play all over the infield, so you've got yourself covered defensively in that respect.
This was Aaron earlier today. He has not had the season that both he and the Diamondbacks hoped for, and he's owed another $24 million for 2 more seasons after this one. So with so many young infielders coming up, it's left Aaron standing on somewhat uncertain ground.
Well, and I applaud Aaron for making that move, going across the diamond as Cliff Pennington takes a questionable called strike 3.
Ted Barrett rings him up. 5 strikeouts for Bergman. Well, Aaron has told the Diamondbacks, look, I get it. And he sees the situation. He knows that this is a club trying to see, you know, in which direction things will go next year. Whether it's keeping the young guys, trading whoever, that's just the big picture, he says, and he understands that. And he has been a class act all the way.
Oh, no question about it. But as you get deeper and deeper into your career, you know, if you can add some versatility to the resume and play multiple positions.
That is leaking near the seats, and not a play off the bat of Peralta. Yeah, also, if you decide that Aaron Hill is part of the future here, and you decide that Jake Lamb or Brandon Drury is not ready at third base, then there's no reason that Aaron Hill couldn't be your opening day third baseman next year. Especially with a whole offseason to work on things down there. 2-1 now to Peralta.
And working on things has never been a weakness for Aaron Hill. I mean, if you tell him we want you to take some ground balls at third base, he will talk to every good third baseman in the game. He'll check books out of the library. He'll go online. He'll turn himself into a good third baseman.
You could go down to Salt River Field, and I've done this in January, early February, well before camp opens. 7:38 in the morning, and there's 2 guys down there hitting in the cage, Aaron Hill and Paul Goldschmidt. Peralta hammers that to the pool in right center, and he's on the run. The freight train is on the tracks, and it's headed for third. He is fun to watch on those bases, boy, when he gets it cranked up.
He runs hard out of the box. You can clearly see him busting it out of that left-handed batter's box. But once he realizes he's got a chance to get 3 on this, he finds another gear. Yeah, he needs to have a smokestack coming out of the top of that helmet.
That diesel gets cranked up, boy, and there it goes. That's 8 triples for David Peralta. 8. How about that?
Well, we've said this a million times. You don't get a triple after you reach first base or second base. You get a triple right out of the batter's box. You have to commit to going hard out of the batter's box just to give yourself a chance to possibly think about going to third base. 105 miles per hour off the bat of David Peralta that time.
And they will not mess with Trumbo. They'll put him on. This will be the 5th walk issued by Bergman. And they'll try and set up the double play ball with Miguel Montero coming up and only 1 out. By the way, Billy Hamilton, who is David Peralta's chief rival, it's presumed, for National League Rookie of the Year, the fastest player in the majors since perhaps Vince Coleman. Billy Hamilton has 7 triples. David Peralta has 8. So 5 walks for Bergman, 1st and 3rd, 1 out for Montero.
On the surface may appear an odd move. Obviously it does set up a potential double play to get out of the inning, but rarely do you walk a right-handed batter as a right-handed pitcher to get to a left-handed hitter. But Bergman's one of those guys that has the crazy reverse splits. Right-handers have hit .377 with an OPS over 1,100 against him this year, while lefties have only hit .257 with an OPS of .630.
Peralta is the runner at third. Trumbo at first. One out, and it's a slow walk to the mound for Walt Weiss. He will make the move. They'll bring in the left-hander Friedrich to face Miggy.
Wow.
And so Bergman, who has given up only 2 hits all night, closing in on 100 pitches, is responsible for 2 base runners, and a new pitcher is on the way in. Back after this.
Is brought to you in part by Lone Butte Casino. Hearing for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox.
No score at Chase Field. D-backs and Rockies, but the D-backs threatening here. Christian Bergman exits with 1 out, responsible for 2 runners, and the new pitcher will be the left-hander Christian Friedrich, who made his first career relief appearance Wednesday in San Francisco. He has spent most of the year in the minor leagues. He made 3 starts with the Rockies earlier this year, but he's in a new role right now for Walt Weiss.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back here. A guy that's used to being a starting pitcher throughout his minor league career and his major league career for that matter. And now his second relief appearance in a couple of days as that one gets behind McHenry, allowing Trumbo to move into scoring position.
Nice heads up play by Mark. Ball got far enough behind McHenry, and you know that there will be no catcher on the planet more aware of the runner at third than Mike McHenry, and it's David Peralta. You'll remember what happened the last time Peralta was at third and McHenry was the catcher. He stole home. Rockies infield in on the 0-1, and Miggy swings through. It's 0-2. McHenry hangs on, foul tipped, strikeout, and Montero is the second out in the 6th.
Big sweeping breaking ball this time from Friedrich. Miggy just gets a piece of it, but right into the mid of McHenry, who grabs it before it hits the dirt.
It's going to be Jake Lamb, who struck out twice against Bergman in 2 at-bats. This is the way things went for the Diamondbacks in their last ball game against Kershaw and the Dodgers. Chances to get in some runs with ducks on the pond, just could not get that hit. Montero strikes out. Now here's Lamb. It kicks away, and here comes Peralta. Well, it's Mike McHenry's worst nightmare as a Rocky catcher. David Peralta standing on third. It's 1-0.
The second worst nightmare is having a pitcher on the mound that can't seem to throw the ball all the way to the plate in the air. That breaking ball hit out in front of the right-handed batter's box. Nice effort by McHenry to get over there, but just ricochets off the left side of that chest protector on into foul territory. Enough for David Peralta to alertly storm home from third base.
And Mark Trumbo is standing at third now. 1-0 to Lamb. So Trumbo was given the intentional walk. Went to second on a pass ball. Now he's at third on a wild pitch. Down the first baseline. Morneau is there. Friedrich covers and they strand Trumbo at third. But the Diamondbacks get the game's first run across. Set up by David Peralta's 8th triple of the year. And through 6, they lead the Rockies 1-0. Seventeen straight Rockies after a leadoff single by Charlie Blackmon. Now has a 1-0 lead, and he is our top-tier player of the game. Brought to you by Arco. Look at these numbers over his last 2 starts. Unbelievable.
Beautiful numbers, especially those 2 zeros. No earned runs, no walks in his last 2 starts.
And Blackmon, who has the only hit against Cole Mentor, he led off the ball game with a single to left. Will lead off the 7th. Blackman's got good speed, so Lamb at third will play a step or 2 in on the grass. Colorado trying to find a base runner. Blackmon has been the only one, and that was back in the first.
And this follows a trend for the Rockies that they saw at AT&T Park against the Giants before they came here to the desert. They were averaging only a run and a half per game. They hit 136 as a team. They slugged 195 against that Giants pitching staff, so the offense was non-existent. Starting pitching was actually decent. They averaged 6 innings per start, had an ERA of 3. But boy, when you catch the Rockies not swinging the bats well, you need to take advantage.
Marte has a chance here. It'll be Lamb from third. Jake Lamb makes the nice running over the shoulder catch. Didi Gregorius style, and Charlie Blackmon is retired to lead off the 7th. Let's make that our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Marte would have had to run a long way over with a left-hand hitter up there from left field. So it's Lamb from third.
Well, the guy that had the toughest play to make makes our Chaz Roberts cool play of the game. Obviously, for that third baseman, you're running straight out, looking back up over your head, up into the rafters here. Didi had a little bit of an angle. Marte definitely had an angle, but neither one of them could get there quickly enough, so Jake Lamb takes it himself over the shoulder.
Brings up Drew Stubbs. So Josh Colmenter working on a one-hit shutout in the 7th. Oliver Perez is throwing slowly in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Getting ready with Colmenter at 80 pitches, 56 for strikes. Stubbs trying to bunt for a base hit. He's got good speed. Lamb can't throw him out. Second hit for the Rockies. And that ends a stretch of 18 straight set down by Colmenter.
First baseman Justin Morneau.
It's only his second bunt base hit of the season for Drew Stubbs, a guy, as you mentioned, with great speed. You'd think he would try that a little more often just to keep the defenses honest, but puts this one in a perfect spot as Lamb had backed up a couple steps behind the baseline that time, and with Drew Stubbs' speed, you're not going to get it.
He is 16 for 19 in his stolen base attempts this year. Here comes Kirk Gibson. He has Perez warming up. You've got the left-hand hitting Justin Morneau, the National League batting leader right now, coming up. And he's going to take the baseball. Josh Colmenter working on a two-hit shutout will leave the game with one out in the 7th. Back after this. Back at Chase Field, interesting call from Kirk Gibson. You've got Josh Colmenter at only 81 pitches working on a two-hit shutout. With one out in the 7th, he had 9 ground ball outs in the game, including Justin Morneau twice grounding out to second base. And with Morneau coming up, he goes to the left-hander Oliver Perez, so Colmenter is done after only 81 pitches.
Well, an outstanding outing for Josh once again tonight. Need to keep repeating it, but a couple starts ago we had questions as to whether he was going to pitch again this year, and boy, he's thrown 2 gems since that subpar outing against the Marlins. Only 1 fly ball out to an outfielder in this game. A couple of pop-ups on the infielder, 9 ground ball outs and 5 punch outs.
Morneau, 2 ground balls to second in his 2 at-bats against Colmenter. Now faces Oli Perez with Stubbs at first and 1 out. The National League batting leader right now, coming into the ball game at 314, now down to 313. Trumbo will play in front of the runner Stubbs at first. 0-2.
It's a different setup we've seen from Mark Trumbo with a left-handed pitcher on the mound. He positions himself just in front of the runner over there at first base. A step or 2 off the bag, anticipating a pickoff throw. He would just retreat a couple of steps back toward the bag and try to slap down a quick tag.
Well, if you're trying to preserve a 1-0 lead in the 7th and you're dealing with Justin Morneau, who crushes right-hand pitching this year, 2 for 10 career against Perez, but Morneau is hitting righties at about a .340 clip this season. 11 of those 14 home runs have come against right-hand pitchers. And so if you're trying to keep it a 1-0 game, you might think about going to the left-hander, and that's the move that Kirk Gibson has made here. And it works as Perez strikes out Morneau, 2 down.
Well, and it serves another purpose as well. You've got a speedy base runner on at first base in a 1-run game, a guy that's definitely capable of stealing his way into scoring position. You bring in the left-handed pitcher, it really freezes Stubbs over there first base.
And now he's going to match up with 2 down, and the right-hand hitting Nolan Arenado coming up. He's going to go to Evan Marshall. 1-0 D-backs in the 7th. Back after this. Tomorrow, Diamondbacks and Rockies. Diamondback live pregame show at 4:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. Tyler Matzik and Vidal Nuno as we continue our campaign to win Uno for Nuno. He has been outstanding lately, still trying to get that first D-back win, and he's on the mound in the purple and teal and the black and the whole thing, the throwbacks on Alumni Night tomorrow.
With the Eddie Munster picture and prominently featured here in the booth, I think it's a slam dunk he's going to get his first win tomorrow.
El Nunez tomorrow. Right now, Evan Marshall to work to Nolan Arenado in 2 down. Marshall's 44th appearance of the year. Arenado in 2 at-bats against Colmenter, grounded out and popped up. Drew Stubbs, the runner at first, after a bunt single, 2 down in the 7th, and it's Arenado versus Marshall. Arenado just named National League Player of the Week last week. He is red hot right now. Last week, 12 hits, including 3 homers, 3 doubles, and a triple. It's a pretty good week. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
Good slider to start the sequence from Evan Marshall, a guy that normally comes in pounding that heavy sinker in there. Looked like Arenado was expecting a sinker and chases that slider right over the top.
Arenado has been crushing the ball in the second half of the season. He's hit .320 since the All-Star break with 8 home runs. And he hits lefties or righties either way. Just misses there. It's 2-1. Marshall wanted that one, but Ted Barrett said no.
You can always tell when Evan Marshall wants a pitch. He'll hold that pose right there where he's turned sideways facing first base, looking over his right shoulder back to home plate.
Trying to sneak that one back in over the outside corner for that backdoor called strike. Arenado ahead 3-1. Josh Colmenter, who had retired 18 straight before the Stubbs 1-out bunt single, responsible for that runner at first. That's in there for a strike, and it's full, 3-2. And now Stubbs with very good speed will be off with a pitch from first.
If you're Nolan Arenado, the gears have to be cranking right now. You saw a first pitch slider for a strike. You just saw a slider right there on a 3-1 count for a strike. Now a full count pitch. What do you look for? This is a guy that's a sinker ball pitcher, but he's shown that he can command that breaking ball.
There goes Stubbs. Arenado drives it toward the pool in right center field, and this is trouble. Stubbs is going to score to tie the ball game, and Arenado stops at second with an RBI double. And there goes the win for Colmenter. That is a really unfortunate fate after retiring 18 straight.
Yeah, he ultimately gets that sinker over the outside part of the plate. And nice hitting by Arenado just to stay on that ball, drive it to the opposite field. And with Drew Stubbs' speed, no chance to gun him down at the plate, even with a perfect relay.
32nd double for Nolan Arenado, who, as we told you, has been red hot. And now it's a tie ball game. Arenado in scoring position for Corey Dickerson. Dickerson 0 for 2, a pair of groundouts. That gets behind Miggy, and Arenado gets a free base.
You see where Miggy sets up, and Evan Marshall pulls that sinker all the way across the plate off the inside corner. Miggy tried to just slide across and make a backhanded stop that time. Unfortunately, gets through all the way to the backstop.
1-2 on Dickerson. Last 20 games, this guy's got 5 doubles and 7 homers. Includes the one he hit into McCovey Cove Wednesday night off Tim Hudson at AT&T Park. Hit the water on the fly. That's this one high up in the air behind second base. Cliff Pennington. And they strand Arenado, but the Rockies tie the ball game. Stretch time at Chase. It's a 1-1 ball game. Brandon Webb will join us when we come back. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. It's Webby in the booth to talk Alumni Day.
In the booth, Steve Berthew and Bob Brenly back here. Diamondbacks and Rockies all tied up at 1. What do you think about taking out Josh Colmenter at 81 pitches, rolling along there?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know about that. I like where he was sitting. He was just rolling through him. Gave up a couple hits. He had 9 ground ball outs or 10 at that point, just a couple in the air. So I'm thinking he's probably going to throw a double play ball or something like that. I don't know about that one. I'm trying to fight if I'm out there, if I'm him.
He had retired 18 in a row, giving up only a bunt single to Stubbs, and Kirk Gibson wanted to match up. It worked out for a while. Oliver Perez got Morneau to strike out as Christian Friedrich is back out there, but then Evan Marshall gave up the RBI double to Nolan Arenado, and here we are 1-1 as Marte leads off the 7th. Now I'm looking at the roster for tomorrow night. This is big.
Oh yeah, big time.
Our 3rd annual alumni night here at the ballpark. Diamondback players will be wearing the throwback purple and teal for the game, and then after the ball game against the Rockies, it's Team Gonzalez versus Team Swindell. And Turner Ward is on the white team. That's Team Swindell. You are on the red team. That's Team Gonzalez. But I understand now, as a very high draft pick, there's been an issue. You holding out for more money? What's happening here?
Well, there's just been some technical difficulties on the performance issues, but
Marte
you can see.
Strikes out. Yeah,
you can see how
some technical difficulties on the performance
on the
issues.
Performance side. Yeah, performance side. Yeah, you know, but for Gonzo to draft me #1 overall, that shows you how
ill-informed he is.
No. How important of a role that I have during this game.
Hey, Webby, I tried to sell that earlier too.
Yeah.
You know, the intangibles, what you bring to a team,
Exactly.
even just sitting in the dugout.
Look at Leo and Gonzo. So now, see, you've left Leo Gilmartin and Luis Gonzalez, well, basically scrambling, trying to fix the ball club.
Gonzo knows what he's getting. He's a smart guy.
Gregorius right back to Friedrich. 2 down in the 7th. Well, as we look ahead, I'm curious to see if you tied alumni night somehow into the AT&T fan photo selection you made for us tonight, with the first day of the Brenly Committee being back in session. And it's time now once again for the Twitter and the hashtag of the whole thing, AZ fan photo. And Brandon Webb has selected, well, Melissa's 89th birthday. That's a nice photo.
Give it up. 89th. That's pretty good.
Got the uni on. Got
the
hat, everything.
Great picture, Melissa, and a great selection by
happy
Brandon
birthday.
Webb. 89 years old. Terrific. Thank you, Melissa. And Webby, nice job.
I didn't slip at all. My 3 weeks off.
Really strong out of the gate here. Jordan Pacheco will hit for the pitcher, a former Rocky.
You know, just for a moment, getting back to Josh Colmenter, and should he or should he not have come out of this ball game? And like you said, Webby, you'd argued your case out there. The thing was, Gibby didn't give him a chance.
No.
He signaled for Oliver Perez as soon as he popped out of that dugout on the
Yeah.
third base side, which pretty much takes the argument right out of the equation.
Yeah, you know, sometimes the manager will come out and talk. How do you feel? What do you feel like? Give the guy maybe a couple more throws down the bullpen. But for some reason, he thought that, you know, that it was it and he was done. Maybe they had talked about it before the inning. Maybe if a runner gets on or something like that, trying to watch your innings. You know, maybe it was something that was prepared already.
Yeah, we'll never know, you know, all the facts. A lot goes on, as you know, down in that dugout, down in the bullpen during the course of the ball game. A lot of facts that aren't known to even us up here in the booth as we go on air every night. Some guys are available, some guys aren't available, some guys are limited.
Pacheco drives that to center, but right to Stubbs, and it's a 1-2-3 7th. Webby, outstanding job. We will
guys.
See you tomorrow on Alumni Night.
You bet.
signed up to cancer's 4th annual star-studded telecast. You can catch the fundraiser, which features music performances and stars from film, TV, and sports in a momentous and inspiring stand against cancer. The program comes your way September 5th at 5 o'clock on Fox Sports 2.
Now pitching, number 29.
8th inning at Chase Field, all tied up. Rockies and Diamondbacks, 1 run apiece. The new pitcher is Brad Ziegler. Bob, while you were gone, Brad Ziegler had a vacation of sorts as well. He made an appearance on Wednesday against the Dodgers. It was his first appearance after a full week off.
Well, don't you think he deserves one? This guy has more appearances this season, most appearances last season, most appearances in the major leagues going back to the beginning of the 2011 season. If anybody earned a week off, it's Brad Ziegler.
Absolutely. On for the 66th time this year. And Mike McHenry is 0 for 2 so far. Leads off the 8th. McHenry, Rutledge, LeMahieu, 6, 7, and 8. Bullpen gets busy now. The left-hander Rex Brothers starts throwing for Colorado. Diamondbacks in the bottom of the 8th will have the top of the order. Inciarte, Pennington, Peralta. 2 lefties and a switch hitter in there. Pulled the string and struck him out, 1 down.
Funny, in an odd kind of way, you're more concerned with Brad Ziegler when he doesn't throw than when he does throw. Sometimes sinker ball pitchers, especially sidearm pitchers like Brad, you get too much time off. You feel a little bit too strong. You overthrow the ball, throw right through the sink in your fastball, but everything looks good so far.
Josh Rutledge. Well, Brad had worked himself into the ground, and clearly for a while there through the middle of August was not as sharp and crisp as we're used to seeing him. He just looked tired out there. The stuff wasn't quite as sharp, so he got a week off and then pitched in that second game against the Dodgers on Wednesday. Worked 2 full innings, in fact, and gave up only 1 hit, and he looked to be back to the old Brad Ziegler.
You know, I'm sure he'll never admit it, and nobody with the Diamondbacks organization will ever use it as an excuse, but it seemed like his problem started after he got drilled in the chest with that line drive. And, you know, to his credit, he's a good teammate. He wanted to take the ball. He knows how important he is to the tail end of that bullpen, so he just tried to pitch through it. But I'm sure that had an effect on his effectiveness over that week or 10-day stretch there when he struggled.
Yeah, that left a mark for sure. In the hole at short, Didi Gregorius backhands it but can't complete the play, and Rutledge is aboard with 1 out. Try to do what we're so spoiled now seeing Didi do all the time. Make that backhand stop in the hole, plant, and then fire with that arm. And somewhere between the stop and the plant, he lost sight of the ball.
Everything looked good. It just hit him in a bad spot of the glove down near the heel and bounced out. He wasn't able to recover quickly enough to even attempt to throw across the diamond.
They say E6, which seems harsh. LeMahieu 0 for 2. Struck out looking his last time. Base hit. Knocks it into right. And now with a pitcher spot coming up, we'll see Brandon Barnes. Brandon Barnes, just 4 hits in his last 30 at bats, but he has done a very good job as a pinch hitter, 4th outfield type this year. Hitting .278 in a pinch hit role this season. 4 doubles, 3 triples, and 2 homers. He's at .245 for the year.
Yeah, his 15 hits off the bench for Walt Weiss lead the majors.
2 on, 1 out. He's got a lot of tools, Brandon Barnes. Very good speed. He's got some pop as well. And hasn't shown as much when he's in there every day. Batting only .213 as a starter this year. He's been more effective off the bench. Rutledge is at second. LeMahieu at first. There's a strike, 1-1. His first season with the Rockies after coming over from the Houston Astros and the Dexter Fowler deal along with Jordan Lyles. And he's done well against the D-backs this year, 8 for 18. Long look down to Stu Cole, coaching at third for the Rockies. Base hit, knocks it into right. Peralta. Cole's going to stop Rutledge at third, and that's why. David Peralta recently, as Jack Magruder pointed out at FoxSportsArizona.com, has pulled the outfield assist cycle, throwing out base runners at all 3 bases plus home plate over the last 10 days or so, and it looks like his reputation is starting to get out there among third base coaches.
And certainly Brad Ziegler's reputation as a sinker ball pitcher from that sidearm delivery has gotten out there to the Rockies. Both DJ LeMahieu and now Barnes with that inside out swing, trying to drive the ball to the opposite field.
Phone rings in the Diamondback bullpen. Bases loaded, 1 out, an error and 2 singles. And have loaded them up for the Rockies. Rutledge is at third, LeMahieu at second, and Barnes with very good speed at first. Mike Harkey. That's Stites, the right-hander. They have changed, as we thought they might, the scoring decision on the Rutledge hit. It is now a base hit. Take the error away from Didi Gregorius. So that's a single for Rutledge. No E6 on the play. 3 straight singles now, all with 1 out for the Rockies. Have the bases loaded for Charlie Blackmon.
Brad Ziegler's always 1 pitch away from getting out of a jam. Bases loaded in this situation. Since 2008, 90 double plays induced.
Blackmon a single to lead off the ball game. He's 1 for 3. Rockies now with 6 hits, 2 for the D-backs.
Well, just to put that 90 grounded into double plays into perspective, going back to the beginning of the 08 season, Jim Johnson is second with 67 double plays induced.
Flare along the left field line for Marte. Rutledge at third will tag. Here's the throw, and it's offline. Rockies lead it 2-1. Well, when he most needed a ground ball, he got the fly ball out. And the Rockies have the lead.
Marte with a long way to run to get there, and unfortunately for him and the Diamondbacks, he got a little bit too far underneath that baseball, had to stop and kind of reach up and back to make the play. Can't make that smooth transition into the throw to the plate, and because of that, the runner's able to slide home with the go-ahead run.
Everybody moves up. 2-on-2 out for Stubbs. He had a bunt single base hit back in the 7th against Colementor. That was the last batter Josh faced. Just the 2nd hit for the Rockies after Colementor had retired 18 straight following Blackmon's leadoff single. He scored on the Arenado double that tied it in the 7th. Mayhew is at third. Barnes at second. So Stubbs now with 14 hits in his last 11 games, including a pair of homers. Brad wanted that one, but Ted Barrett was not biting.
It looked like the slightest of flinches from the home plate umpire that time. That slider working its way across the bottom of the zone right here. And Ted Barrett just kind of walked away from that one. Like he had thoughts about calling it a strike.
Might have been a hair below the knees. This is in the air to left center field. Easy play for Alfredo Marte. And that's the inning, but the Rockies get 3 singles and a sac fly by Blackman to take a 2-1 lead as we go to the home half of the 8th. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Inciarte, Pennington, Peralta for the D-backs. Gila River game summary. Josh Colmenter was absolutely brilliant tonight. Only 2 hits, one by the first batter of the ball game, a single by Charlie Blackmon. The other by the last batter Colmenter faced, a bunt single by Drew Stubbs. In between, he retired 18 straight Rockies. And right now, somehow it's 2-1 Colorado as Rex Brothers is on to work the 8th. Ender Inciarte 0 for 3 will lead it off against the lefty brothers. Ender with a 4-game hit streak on the line. 7 hits in his last 4 games, including 2 doubles and a triple. Trying to get a base runner here to lead off the 8th. Adam Ottavino throwing in the Colorado pen. He would in all likelihood get Trumbo if the D-backs can get a base runner. Taking all the way, it's 3-0.
Yeah, Rex Brothers has been known to lose that strike zone from time to time in 50 2/3 innings coming into play tonight. He had recorded 51 strikeouts, but he'd also walked 35 batters. And immediately falls behind the first hitter he faces, Ender Inciarte, 3-0.
And Ender has done a very good job all season long against left-hand pitching. There's a strike, 3-1. Leadoff man aboard. Tying run on for the Diamondbacks to lead off the 8th. Brothers comes in with a 2-1 lead, 8th inning, facing a left-hand hitter and gives him a free pass. Jim Wright does not like what he sees. And FoxSportsArizona.com, all your online local sports coverage you won't find anywhere else. You get post-game analysis and reaction from the clubhouse here at Chase Field. Craig Morgan breaks down the Cardinals' final cuts. And Randy Hill on Game 1. This is the WNBA Western Conference Finals between the two best teams in the league. Not just the conference, but the league. The Phoenix Mercury and the Minnesota Lynx. That's Maya Moore versus Diana Taurasi, two UConn greats going head-to-head. And they have already guaranteed a Mercury WNBA title. Cliff Pennington. Game 1 going on across the street right now. Mercury and the Lynx.
Broadway Burt making a call. I like it.
I went out there. They put on a great show. The wife is down there tonight with her entourage watching that game. Cliff has walked twice and struck out 0 for 1. He's 2 for his last 16 up there. You feel like doing anything with the Ender here? Or you got some good hitters coming up. Just let them take their cuts.
Well, I thought maybe Pennington would put down a sac bunt in this situation, but then it gives the Rockies the lefty-on-lefty matchup with Peralta against Brothers. So I think given the fact that Cliff Pennington handles the bat the way he does, you got a big hole on the right side of the infield. The Rockies aren't sure what the Diamondbacks are going to do. Yeah, pick a pitch and drive it through that infield.
By the way, we're told that Phoenix won Game 1, 85-71. They beat the Lynx.
Congrats.
Mercury lead the Western Finals 1-0 after just cleaning up against the LA Sparks in the semis. Inciarte, a little stutter step down there off the first base bag with a secondary lead, and Brothers just cannot throw a strike. So far he's thrown 8 pitches, only 1 for a strike. Pennington, a switch hitter, of course. For his career, he's about even. But this year, he's been more effective from the right-hand side. He's hitting nearly .300 this year against left-hand pitching.
And if you are going to bunt or play hit and run, one of the first prerequisites is the pitcher needs to throw a strike. And when Brothers is spraying him around the way he is, yeah, just let him keep walking, guys.
Tying and now go-ahead runs aboard with nobody out in the 8th. Back-to-back walks from Brothers to lead off the inning, and here's Peralta.
Now at right field.
Well, I bet if you're Walt Weiss, that makes you just want to tear your hair out. Peralta tripled and scored his last time up. Inciarte is the tying run at second. Pennington the go-ahead run at first. Nobody out.
Got to be more disciplined than that against a pitcher that's had all kinds of issues finding the strike zone. Chase a first pitch breaking ball that bounced out in front of home plate. We talk all the time, and it's an overworked cliche, trying to do too much. David Peralta knows he's a valuable member of this offense, and they count on him to produce runs, but you got to be a little more patient than that.
Nobody near the second base bag, so Inciarte wandering off a bit too far for Brothers. Ender, we've seen him take off for third a number of times this year. He's got a big lead down there. Peralta quickly down 0-2. David, of course, had that grand slam against the Rockies when they were last here. That was August 9th. He was 3 for 5 of that ball game. And a career high 5 RBIs. Ever since that hit, he's seen a whole lot of off speed and breaking pitches. Bounces one high up in the air. And the runners move up. A big break for the D-backs. This is just being handed to them in this inning.
Wow.
That was a major league wild pitch.
To call that a wild pitch is an understatement. Wow.
It hit, I think it hit off the top of McHenry's helmet.
To get that kind of a ricochet, it must have. It nearly hit out on the infield grass.
You heard a click from up here. Oh, it hit him in the shoulder.
Shoulder, yeah.
Now the go-ahead run is in scoring position with no outs. Inciarte, the tying run at third. Pennington go-ahead run at second. A 1-2 count on Peralta. And a base hit here might give the D-backs the lead. Bounces another one up there. He has thrown 14 pitches, Rex Brothers, 4 for strikes. Wild thing.
I'm not sure what Michael McHenry did to upset Rex Brothers so badly, but he is absolutely beating him to death behind home plate right now. Every pitch in the dirt.
Even the ones that Peralta chased for strikes were in the dirt. 2-2. This is unbelievable. It's still 60 feet 6, Rex. They hadn't moved it up. He had him 0-2. It's now full.
There are occasions when a major league pitcher will intentionally bounce a pitch in the dirt. 0-2, 1-2. Try to get a guy to chase a bad breaking ball, but this has been nearly every delivery hitting way out in front of home plate.
15 pitches, 11 of them balls. He has been a thorn in the side for Colorado ever since he arrived wearing Sedona red.
Well, this would be a good time to continue being that thorn, because if he doesn't reach here, they'll probably walk Mark Trumbo and go after Miguel Montero.
He has walked, the bases loaded. 3 batters face, 3 bases on balls. Still nobody out.
Montevino was up earlier, but even he was stopped throwing.
Well, now you can't walk Trumbo. Here comes Walt Weiss. He is going to go to the right-hander. Well, Rex Brothers threw 17 pitches, only 5 strikes. He has signaled to the bullpen. Montevino had stopped throwing, but now he's coming in the ball game. D-backs down 1, have the bases loaded with no outs in the 8th. Back after this. actually the same number of hits he has allowed this year with the bases loaded. And he inherits a bases loaded no out nest with a 1-run lead in the 8th.
Talk about putting a guy in a hole right away. Adam Ottavino comes in with no margin for error here. Bases loaded, nobody out. Facing the cleanup hitter in the Diamondbacks lineup. Go get him.
Opposing hitters this year 0 for 9 against Adam Ottavino with the bases loaded. He has hit 2 batters, however, in those situations. So it's Trumbo up, bases loaded, no outs. Rocky relievers in this inning just cannot find the strike zone. You've got Ender Inciarte, the tying run at third. Cliff Pennington, the go-ahead run at second. David Peralta, the runner at first. Trumbo, 0 for 1. He has walked twice, once intentionally. A 5-game hit streak on the line.
Quite a turnaround for Mark since coming off the disabled list. His first 50 at bats, it was a struggle. There's no other way to put it. He hit 157. He struck out 18 times in 50 at bats, walked once. In his last 109 at bats, he's hit over 300. He's only struck out 20 times and walked 15. I think admittedly he would be the first one to say it. He's a different hitter now than the guy the Diamondbacks expected when they brought him over here.
His percentage of bases on balls has actually gone up every year he's been in the big leagues, and he has continued that this year, even with the foot injury. His walk rate right now is a career high.
He's been more content to take the base hits to the opposite field, take the base on balls if he doesn't get anything to hit, rather than try to generate that power on pitches you can't hit out of the ballpark.
Tapper back to the mound. Ottavino bobbles it, gets the toss to McHenry just in time, and they get the force on Inciarte at home for the first out of the inning. It looked like he might not find a handle in time there.
It looked like an easy double play off the bat. If Ottavino gets rid of it on that first shovel toss, they probably do double up Trumbo at first base, but by the time he's able to dig it out of his shirt, take a couple of extra steps right there, finally does get it to McHenry. They barely got the force out at home plate.
You see him looking at his hand immediately. He almost dropped that one, trying to get it for the underhand toss. So Trumbo's aboard, 1 out, base is still full. It's Miguel Montero. He walked his first time up. He's 0 for 2. .99 miles an hour for strike 1. Ottavino still shaking his head out there. It looks like he's still mad at himself for fumbling a potential double play ball right there. Walking around the mound shaking his head. .97, 0-2. He's just rearing back and firing now. He got Trumbo to chase some breaking balls early in the count. An all fastball so far to Miggy, who's hitting nearly .330 for his career with the bases loaded. Along the left field line, drifting into the seats and out of play. Back with you tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show at 4:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. Our 3rd annual alumni game, throwback night. First 20,000 fans here. Bob Brenly bobbleheads, courtesy of Sanderson Ford. Still get tickets at dbacks.com/tickets. And then after the game, the alumni game. Team Gonzalez versus Team Swindell. fastballs. Maybe hanging in there at 0-2. With Pennington as the tying run at third, David Peralta the go-ahead run at second, Mark Trumbull aboard at first. Morneau playing behind the runner. We've got Stubbs in center field, shaded over toward left center against Montero. Another 0-2. Throwing hard up there, 97, 99. Chases one in the dirt and strikes out. It was bases loaded, no outs. Ottavino has come in and got 2 outs. And now here's rookie Jake Lamb.
That was similar to a strikeout Josh Colmenter had earlier in the ball game, where he threw 7 fastballs in a row and then a changeup to get the strikeout. Ottavino comes in and throws a series of fastballs in the upper 90s before finally throwing a breaking ball, and Miggy just could not hold up.
Well, it's up to Jake Lamb, a pair of strikeouts and a ground ball up the first base line. He's 0 for 3. This is at 98 for ball 1. And the Diamondbacks had the bases loaded against Clayton Kershaw on Wednesday. The first time all year Kershaw had the bases loaded. They went 0 for 2. Biggest at bat of Jake Lamb's young career right here. Yanked that one for a ball. 2 balls and a strike.
Certainly would be huge for his confidence and his development if he was able to come up with a big base hit right here.
This is a guy that was just killing the ball at AA Mobile. 318, 35 doubles, 14 homers. Had 79 RBIs in 103 games in AA this year. Drives it to center field. Stubbs backing up, looking up, and that ball is gone! A grand slam! Jake Lamb! How about that, D-back fans? Wow is right, 5-2. His second career big league homer, and they're waiting for the curtain call from the kid here at Chase. Get him out there.
I guess Jake Lamb just needed to see somebody who threw a little bit harder. Struck out his first 2 at-bats in the ball game against an 86, 87 mile-an-hour fastball. Gets one 97 and blasted it out of here to straightaway center field.
His second big league homer.
He stayed right on it. That pitch is just inside of the outside corner and stayed right on that ball. Didn't try to pull it, didn't try to lift it, just drive it out of the ballpark.
Well, I tell you what, when Mom calls tonight, you better not be like using that navigation app on the phone. You better take that call from Mom, Jake.
I think he knows his way home by now.
No big league in Mom after that one. A grand slam. 1-2 on Marte. Called strike 3, but Jake Lamb steps up in a big spot. Bases loaded, 2 down, 2-1 game in the 8th inning, and he takes it deep. A grand slam, and the Diamondbacks have the lead. Four runs on 1 hit. The only hit, the second big league homer, and the first career grand slam for rookie Jake Lamb.
Really nice to see the Diamondbacks take care of the base runners that they got via the base on balls. They'd only scored 1 run in their previous 11 walks. Really took advantage with that blast off the bat of Jake Lamb.
And now they lead at 5-2. The closer is on in the 9th. It's Addison Reed. Justin Morneau, Nolan Arenado, Corey Dickerson, 3, 4, and 5. The sharp end of the Rockies order here in the 9th. Addison Reed trying to lock down the save here. He has recorded, or converted I should say, his last 10 save chances. He is 1 save away from 100 for his career. Oh, 2. A 100 saves at the age of 25 is a pretty neat accomplishment.
That's one way the game has really changed. Guys are now being groomed to be closers, even going back as far as high school. And then through their college careers, through their minor league career, that's what they're going to be, closers.
And he strikes out Morneau. Do you think part of that is looking for kids, young throwers that have that kind of closer mentality? Because that's kind of an intangible, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. Guys that want the ball with those last 3 outs yet to get in a ball game and being able to do it successfully. And when you don't do it successfully, to let it go and come back your next outing and get right back on the train. Not an easy thing to do.
Nolan Arenado, an RBI double his last time up. First pitch pops him up. Let's see if Miggy has room. It's in the seats. Take a quick look at our DirecTV National League wildcard standings. It's the Giants and the Cardinals at 71 and 62. Braves a game back. Pirates a game and a half off the pace. Addison Reed says he's always wanted to be a closer. Never really wanted to be a starting pitcher. Even as a kid, he grew up in Southern California, went to Angels games. And he said Troy Percival was his guy. He would watch Troy Percival come in and close games in Anaheim. And that, he said, kind of gave him the closing itch, even when he was 13, 14 years old. He held up, says Paul Schreiber. Addison said it was all about the entrance. Percival would come charging out there. Remember, he was one of those guys that would run out from the bullpen. Fans would get all fired up. And young Addison Reed thought, you know, that's a feeling you probably can't get anywhere else, and that's the kind of feeling I'd like to have. He wants to be the guy who throws that last pitch. Bouncer to short. Gregorius will have to hurry. There's that arm. 2 down. That's a big league shortstop right there.
I mean, there are some plays where you can alter your steps in order to field it in one motion and throw to first, and then there are other plays where you just have to get to it as quickly as you can and unload it as quickly as you can, and that was the case on that play for Didi. No wasted motion, no wasted time, just in time to get Arenado at first.
2 down for Corey Dickerson, who's 0 for 3. Addison Reed, 99 career saves since 2012, tied for 8th most of the major leagues over that span. Jonathan Papelbon has the same amount. And he jumps ahead of Dickerson 0-1. One more look at Didi Gregorius.
With 2 strikes, Didi's playing very deep at shortstop. That little slow roller hit just past the mound. And that ability to field and throw quickly from whatever arm angle he happens to be in and still make an accurate, strong throw.
Oh, and 2. D-backs trying to make it 7 wins in their last 8 meetings with Colorado. No balls, 2 strikes to Corey Dickerson. Addison Reed bidding for his 100th career save. And there it is. He retires the side in order. A couple of punch outs. 100 saves for Addison Reed. And the Diamondbacks take game 1 of this 3-game set with Colorado. Jake Lamb, the big hit. His first career grand slam. Bases loaded, 2 outs, down a run, and Lamb delivers. He's our APS Energy All-Star.
I said at the moment, a big at-bat for his confidence in his future development. You can bet there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Jake Lamb late in ball games to do some damage, and now he's had a positive experience doing that.
Diamondback rookies with the bases loaded this year are 6 for 19, including 3 grand slams. Marte, Peralta, and now Lamb. And they win this one here. 5-2 is your final. They get only 3 hits, but it's enough. We will have Diamondback Live postgame show coming up right after a break here on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks Live is next. D-backs win this one 5-2. Back with more from Chase Field after this.